is creatine really that helpful?
It is helpful, yeah. It actually makes a big, I mean, not big in the difference, but a noticeable difference for sure, yeah. So all it does is it allows your body to hold water intracellular, so it's inside the muscle. And the muscle is mostly made of water, so you get the amount of water you get in your muscles, it'll improve your performance by a tiny bit. And people say they feel a bit puffier. Yeah, that's because you're literally, your muscles are expanding a tiny bit more. They're allowed to hold more water. So it leads to more performance gain, you look bigger, no side effects. It's a natural thing, comes from beef.
You know, how different variations of genetics may help you or harm you in this manner. Hi guys, today we're joined with Sina Sadr, a friend and a professional bodybuilder.
Oh yeah, once upon a time, yeah.
Once upon a time, yeah, we were talking off camera and he mentioned that it's been 2 months you haven't been to the gym.
No, yeah, it's been a while, yeah. Maybe even more. Ever since around June, July, I pretty much stopped going.
So can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, I had some health concerns. I don't think it was related exactly to like the training or anything. It was just diet related. I was dieting too hard, and then I went out for food, just like a cheat meal. And since I was basically eating practically nothing, all that sodium, carbohydrates filled out my body, and my body couldn't get rid of the water retention. So I went up like 50 pounds in about a month. And that's pretty abnormal. Yeah, I thought my heart was failing. Went to doctors, did a cardiogram, nothing was wrong. Checked my liver, kidneys, everything was normal. Nothing was wrong at all, and they couldn't really figure out what was going on. And I asked them to prescribe me some diuretics from the pharmacy to get rid of this water retention because it literally wasn't going away. The diuretics did not work. No matter how many diuretics I took, within a day of me stopping the diuretics, like I ran out of the amount that they gave me, it would just go back up 10 pounds until I reached about 300 pounds at some point. I was like a water buffalo, and my ankles were swollen. Everything was swollen. I looked horrible. I looked like I was just a fat guy, as if I don't work out at all. And at that point I was like, maybe it's time. This shit's unhealthy.
That's crazy.
Dieting is not fun, mentally and physically not good for you. I do enjoy fitness. I like to go to the gym and stuff, but as of right now, I'm just putting on the back burner. Just for now, it's taking a break. I did it for 7 years every day, so if just 1 year or like 6 months of not doing it should be okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it should be okay. So when you mentioned dieting, I mean, how intense did you go?
It's pretty intense. Usually you have to slowly do it because if you do it too fast, your body basically just shuts down. Like you will realize functions stop working, your energy levels will be horrible. Past a certain point, under 10% body fat, your body will literally conserve energy in all aspects. So there was a time when I remember I found something funny, but I didn't have the energy to even laugh about it. I was just in my head, oh yeah, it's pretty funny. The joke is pretty funny, but I couldn't really laugh. No emotion. I stopped, facial expression stopped. I don't know. Libido was gone. I trying to get up from the couch, didn't want to do it. And just moving was difficult in general. Any kind of activity was really difficult. Then all the energy I did have was in the gym and cardio, and then the rest was just sitting down. I couldn't move.
That's crazy.
It's pretty bad.
So let's get back to your story. So you gained so much water weight and nothing was really working. So how did you overcome this?
Yeah, so I actually went to Fraser Health, just like one of these emergency Fraser Health things in Burnaby. I walk in, I wait 2 hours. They take me in. The doctor comes up to me. I explain. I know a lot about human physiology and how the body works. And I told her what's exactly going on. And, she understands my language, my scientific language I'm using. And I tell her, yeah, it's this, this, and this. I need this exact diuretic or something similar that's going to work. I've tried it before. This happened once before as well, but it wasn't to this extreme. And the moment she asked me, are you a bodybuilder? I'm like, yeah, I am a bodybuilder. I'm trying to compete. But because bodybuilders use diuretics, right, in competitions. I didn't want to go there to get diuretics because I can just buy that elsewhere if I really wanted to, right? I don't need to go to a doctor for that. I was just actually trying to get some help. And I explained to her the situation. And she's like, the moment I said bodybuilder, she's like, oh, I see what you're trying to do. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, are you accusing me of like lying or something? Like genuinely, I was like, what the heck? Like, what's wrong with her? Why is she saying that? And then she just said, nope, there's nothing wrong. Go home. And I'm like, bro, I've gained like 40 pounds. I think my heart is failing. I'm just genuinely scared for my life. A 24-year-old guy shouldn't have this much like water retention. This is usually a sign of kidney, liver, or heart failure. Didn't write me a blood work. Didn't write me. She just said go home. And I was like so pissed. Like I didn't know what to do. I just thought about going and buying diuretics on my own. Like I know a guy. I could just go get diuretics. Like pharma grade. I don't need to talk to you about it. But I didn't. I still went. I knew another doctor I talked to. And he really helped me out. Yeah, he sent me I went to ER and then did my cardiogram, went to ultrasound, and everything was fine. Blood work was fine. I don't know. I still don't know what happened. I just ended up doing keto on my own. I'm like, this is the only method I know. If there's no carbohydrates to be stored as water, then there's no way you can have water retention, right? It would be pretty hard. So let me just cut out all the carbs for like a week. It was pretty difficult. Us Persians, like we love rice, we love bread. It's pretty hard. And the moment I did that for a week, all the weight came off and stayed off finally for some reason. I don't know how. And then, yeah, it was gone and never happened again.
That must be crazy.
Yeah, I still don't know. Like, I don't know at all. I mean, there's something wrong. Maybe I have like a genetic thing. I don't know.
Potentially. So, okay, let's get to the science part of it. You seem to be knowledgeable. How does it work that after like a certain diet that you have, if you have carbohydrates to that level, you grab water? How does it work?
If you're like, your body's in a state of starvation, right? You're used to a certain way of dieting. Like I ate the same way for like 3 months. At that point, your body adapts to that kind of food. It's like, let's say if you eat a certain diet and then you eat differently, your stomach just starts spinning and you go to the washroom real bad. Like that's a pretty common thing with a lot of people. When I was dieting, something similar happened. So my body's accustomed to having no water in it. Like I'm low carbs at all times, right? I'm expelling a lot of water through exercise. And the moment you give it a huge dosage of carbohydrates, well, your body stores carbs as water, as glycogen, right? So you expand, your muscles expand extracellular, right? And intracellular, both. So the moment you eat all those carbs at a certain point, and all the calories, all the sodium, well, sodium transports water. So sodium and carbs together, you're just going to take all that stuff into your body. And that's exactly what happened. And it's partially my fault. Like after the cheat day I had, like I was really lean and I was like 2 months out from the competition and I was way too lean and I was like, I can get away with this. I'm way ahead of the curve. Like I don't need to diet any like it'll be easier to diet. Like, I can just get away, have a fun day. And then I had like I think 2 cheat days in a row. I think something like that. But it wasn't crazy. I wasn't eating like 10,000 calories. It was like 5,000-6,000. Like for me, if I'm bulking, I can get away with that, no problem. Like if I'm always eating, nothing happens. Like I don't gain weight after I do such a thing. But since I was so lean, the body just got shocked, and the kidneys did it. I guess the kidneys or the liver, something along. I think it's probably the kidneys couldn't get rid of the water. I wasn't going to the washroom. I wasn't peeing or anything. So yeah, the moment I went keto, I started peeing out all the water. Or even if you take diuretics, that's what happens. You'll be in the washroom constantly. And I literally felt the water like on my thighs. Like if you touched my thigh, it would be like a water bed. It would just like jiggle. And every time I went to the washroom, the jiggle would become less and less and less until it became like firm and tight, like it should be. But yeah,
that's crazy.
It's pretty interesting to see. Yeah, like most people never experience that, but it's pretty interesting, right?
I saw the first video you had on Instagram. It was on your story. You were like, "Oh, this is happening to me. Like I don't know what's going on."
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, it's pretty scary.
Good luck.
Some people think I died because I stopped posting. I'm like, I posted like one story after a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, thank God you're alive." I'm like, yeah, nothing happened.
Yeah, because you have like a good amount of following too. But going back to that doctor that was like, "Yo, nothing's wrong with you."
Oh, dude, I was so pissed. I was like, "Is there a way I can like complain to someone or like report her or something?" Like.
So then why is that? Why is it? Is it like that chemical that giving to bodybuilders give them an edge in the competition? How does it work?
It's really outdated like stuff. Like no one uses diuretics anymore, I don't think, because it will literally kill you. If there's not enough water in your system and like you're dehydrated and that sort, your heart will stop. if there's not enough sodium, your heart will literally stop. So a lot of bodybuilders, they're already lean. They want to get leaner, but like instead of losing the fat, they want to do it like they want to appear leaner through removing the water. But so they're just like, they just didn't diet hard enough. So they're going to use diuretics to like look a little bit better. But like if there's no water in your system, like you would literally die. So there's a lot of cases, a lot of bodybuilders, like majority of the deaths are through heart failure. And it's usually a lot of people like right on stage, they die. They'll take diuretics and then they'll go on stage and then they'll just pass out and that's it. The guy's dead. Like it happened a few times this year, last year, like in the news, bodybuilding news. It's pretty common. And Iranians do it a lot actually.
Really?
Yeah, because they don't have the proper information back home. Outdated material, like stuff that has no evidence that it works or anything. And they don't know the mechanisms of these drugs. They just take shit and then they have good genetics. So just get away with it, right? But he just eats like chicken and rice and then he just gets big. Like also the steroids they take, you could bang your head against the wall and you'll just get muscle. Like that's the honest truth. Genetics play a huge factor and food plays a huge factor, but steroids take you a long way. So these guys will abuse everything and then they wonder why they have health problems. Like they're abusing. You're not supposed to abuse. Everything in moderation. You can get away with probably with anything in life. But in this case, yeah, it's pretty bad.
�𝐂𝐇 doesn't do that though.
No, he just diets like a champ, man. He just knows.
He's great, yeah.
Yeah, his coach is really good too. Hani Rambod. I know for a fact his way of dieting and training and supplementation is like perfect. It's all evidence-based. We know it works and doesn't reveal his secrets either. Like,
really,
there are some bodybuilders now, they're famous, like they're in the top 5 Olympians. Their coaches are like dumb as heck, man. Like, don't get me wrong, what they do works, but it's just not safe compared to what Hani does. Hani Rambod, the coach, does things that are safe and get you results, right? The other guys, the old school coaches, they just give you the drugs and diet you down and just like kill you, man. It's horrible.
I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for the amount of support you guys are giving this podcast. None of this would be possible without you guys. And if you guys like the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out and it's completely free for you guys. If you want to support this podcast directly, please check out the Patreon link down below. It will help me directly and it will help me bring higher levels of guests and improve the studio and really deliver the best content. And also over there, we have some unreleased content, podcast. I've interviewed 2 people at the same time and there's more content there with people from Toronto that I cannot be in person with. I do over the Zoom and all the content's there. So please make sure to check it out. And thank you guys for watching. Yeah, because safety is a big concern now that you're mentioning. It could be a huge factor.
It is the number one priority. Mostly your mental health, like your brain health, because that's irreversible. Physical health, you can do something about it up to a certain extent. But like if your brain is damaged, dude, there's nothing you can do about it. Like it's done, right?
Yeah.
We basically can't treat we can treat mental illness, but we can't cure it, right? So if anything goes wrong in the brain, it's so sensitive to stress and everything else. So if anything happens to it, then you're screwed. So that's the priority from what I know as a coach. That's what we do.
So you have had your period of steroids? Yes.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through how was that experience and just kind of give an overview of how was that?
Really? Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was great for the most part. There's nothing bad to say. I did it safely. I had no health problems from the steroids, technically. It was mostly diet related. I didn't take that much to begin with. You don't need much at all. And I want to be safe about it. And I only did it to compete at a high level. It was something I contemplated. It was initially I never wanted to do it because looking back now as a natural, I was big. Like I was really impressive. And people already accused me of steroids back then. And when I hopped on, I was looking, I'm like, wow, I actually didn't need to. There's no reason. I could have just tried doing it naturally too. But at a high level, you lose. Someone's going to be bigger than you. Someone's going to be leaner than you. And I'm not going to lie, being on steroids gives you a huge advantage. Huge. It's not just minor. It's like takes you a long way if you have good genetics. Otherwise, it doesn't do much. There's so many guys I know who take shit. They look natural. So it's like, yeah, it doesn't it's not going to turn into Superman, but it could possibly help you. It was overall like a good experience. I felt fine. Health was there. The only reason my health went down was the moment I got really lean. But when I was bulking and stuff, just like normal living, I was perfectly fine. Everything was normal.
No side effects at all.
No side effects, no.
That's great.
Yeah.
So for some people that want to do it safely, for example, where do you recommend to do it?
Hire a coach. Hire me. Me or someone you know. But that's the thing is, I spend the time to learn about these things and the drugs and the supplements and my own personal experience. And a lot of these coaches, even the Olympia coaches, they don't know what they're doing. Even those guys don't know. Some of them don't know what they're doing. I talked to a bodybuilder recently. I think he's in his 40s, 50s now. He's super impressive. Was on the Olympia. He's a pro. And I'm like, yo, like, I got to know him a little bit and started talking about the drugs. And I was like, yo, so what did you take for like the Olympia prep? Like when you were prepping for the Olympia. And he told me the drugs he was taking. I was like, bro, how are you not dead? Like, what is wrong? Are you like, it's a stupid thing to do. He was taking drugs that we don't use. Like maybe they used it 40 years ago, 30 years ago. No one uses it now because it's so dangerous. And I was like, why are you like, you don't need this. Why are you taking this? Like, I didn't say anything. He's older than me. And
you're like, oh, nice.
He's the pro. I'm not a pro. He's the pro. And he's been doing this for a while. He's made a business off bodybuilding. Like, but in my head, I was like, damn, this guy does not know what he's talking about. So even these veterans don't know what they're doing.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me how they can even compete at that level even without knowing.
Yeah, because all the steroids build muscle at the same rate. So
really?
Yeah. They all do the same thing.
Right.
They're all made for, they were actually developed for breast cancer initially. And then they like testosterone was the first one, I think. And then they realized, oh, this is causing women to turn into men. Too many androgens. And
actually?
Yeah. So then they started refining it and they made all these other sub steroids like that derive from testosterone. And then even those seem to cause problems. So I think they discontinue it totally. I think they might prescribe, like Anavor is a very popular drug. It's an oral pill. A lot of people don't want to inject, so they take the oral form. Like Anavor is used to treat muscle wasting for some patients. Yeah, so I know that's like, there's many case scenarios. But yeah, that's basically it.
That's the grand scheme of the topic. But let's get into protein and creatine.
Sure, yeah.
So, I mean, you've had, I'm sure, great experience with potentially both, but can you talk about, is creatine really that helpful?
It is helpful, yeah. It actually makes a big, I mean, not big in the difference, but a noticeable difference for sure, yeah. So all it does is it allows your body to hold water intracellular, so it's inside the muscle. And the muscle is mostly made of water, so you get the amount of water you get in your muscles, it'll improve your performance by a tiny bit. And people say they feel a bit puffier. Yeah, that's because you're literally your muscles are expanding a tiny bit more. They're allowed to hold more water. So it leads to more performance gain. You look bigger. No side effects, and it's a natural thing. It comes from beef, from what I know.
Yeah, and also there's new studies coming out that it helps you with brain and how to maybe perform better when you're sleep deprived. And there's new studies coming out in that sense, which is really interesting. I have 2 tubs. I use it every day.
Yeah, take 5 to 10 grams a day.
Yeah,
that's it. Then you're gonna see improvement. And the moment you stop taking it, I think like you'll notice your performance will go down. You'll lose a little bit of size.
Never. So what about protein? I'm sure you used like...
Yeah, protein is protein, man.
It's great.
Yeah, it's the best source of protein is probably beef, beef and eggs. Chicken doesn't hold as much protein value. Amino acid profile is not as good.
Really?
Yeah, chicken's pretty bad in general. It's not really a good animal protein, but it's cheap and it's lean. And you want essential fats anyway, as a natural at least. If there's no fats in your system, then you can't produce hormones. So a lot of people who diet, they just eat like lean cuts of meat, like tilapia, I don't know, tuna, chicken, and egg whites. They avoid the eggs. But what they don't realize is like you're going to disrupt your hormone profile pretty bad if you don't have fats in there. Carbs are useless in general, and protein and fats are essential, right? So next time you're dieting, think about that. Like, if you don't have the protein aspect, eat something fattier, avoid less carbs. Yeah, avoid the carbs a bit more.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, because the carbs don't do much. They're not essential, really. They're great for brain function and body function. Like, in general, you feel good. Your brain feels good when you have carbs, but it's not really essential at all. If you try to do keto, for example, or something, and not even keto, just low carb, there's no noticeable change in like performance or anything. So from a performance metric, it doesn't really matter how many carbs you have. For bodybuilders, though, you probably want more carbs, just because you're filling out a lot more, right? You're getting puffier and bigger. You're appearing bigger, right? So that might help you in the bodybuilding aspect. But when it comes to a performance aspect, like if you're an athlete, carbs don't really do much. It's just an energy source.
Beef and eggs.
What I would say is beef, eggs, organ meat, like liver. Liver's pretty good. Anything you get your hands on, like any kind of organ meat is good. Bone marrow is great.
So delicious.
It's literally nature's supplement. So especially liver. Like if I know a place I buy liver from, it's just Meridian Market. There was one in North Van, I think, in the plaza next to Tim Hortons. They used to sell that, and now they do it online. I just ordered a bunch of like grass-fed ground beef, and then some bone marrow. I got some beef liver from them. It's really good.
That's what's up.
It's cheap too. It's not that expensive.
Well, we'll talk about it after. Hook me up. Vali, so powder. Is powder good as well? Does it do the same effect, or how do they contrast?
From what I know, at least, the amino acid profile of like a whey isolate is pretty good, but whey in itself is a waste product. So it's the remainders of what they get from milk, I think, or when they churn milk, I think that's what it is. They churn the milk to get butter or something, or because butter is just churned cream, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Something like
milk,
that.
they get cream from milk. So whatever is the waste product of the milk, like when they're making yogurt, for example, the watery part, I think that's what the whey is. And they powder that. We'll fact check
here. Yeah.
So it is waste product from milk, and probably you don't really need that. If you can, you don't need protein powder. If you really are missing protein, sure, go for it. But you're better off eating animal protein.
You don't have protein powder.
I do. I use it. I had to eat like 300 grams of protein. It's not that easy. So right. I only took 2 scoops. The other like 250 grams was from animal sources. I was eating like a shit ton of chicken breast, a shit ton of beef, everything.
Just anything you can get the hands on. But that was back in the day. Like, what about now?
Oh, dude, I eat like once a day maybe.
Really?
I've noticed that I stopped going to the gym, and my energy consumption, like just functioning, is like close to nothing. I can go a whole day without eating. I don't get hungry, nothing. But when I was going to the gym, I was starving all the time just to maintain that mass, right? All that muscle requires energy. So, and I was going to the gym, I was doing cardio, I was spending my energy somewhere. But now that I'm not spending, my body's conserving it all. I'd get away with just eating like one meal, anything. I'll maybe just go get a junior chicken or something. It's good enough.
To relax life now.
It's not healthy by any means. It's just I don't care enough anymore, personally, to do all that stuff for now. I just want to take a break and turn my brain off. I don't want to be, back then I would get so anxious going out with my friends or going to my friend's house because I'm like, I didn't bring my meals with me. Like, what am I going to eat? I can't eat McDonald's. Like, that's so bad for me. Oof. But then, like, who cares? Like, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
Now that I'm out of it, I realized, I was like basically borderline eating disorder, I would say. But it was for a goal. Like, there was a goal in mind, right? As long as you're not straying too far away from, like, if that becomes your normal, that's probably bad. Yeah. I would call that the eating disorder. Like, if you're just getting anxious over food, like, it's just food, man. Just eat whatever.
So what was your peak? What was your peak bodybuilding status, kind of?
I was 250 pounds, around like 7% body fat. Like, I'm 6'2". I was big. Like, looking back at the photos, dude, like, I was like, no way I was that big, right? Because from my lens, when I'm looking at myself, I can't see how people perceive me besides the mirror, maybe, right? And how often do I look in the mirror? Like, not all. I see myself once a day in the mirror, like, well, in my house, but I still don't know how people perceive me from the outside. Apparently I'm pretty scary with a resting face, which is true. I noticed now is like I look a little bit angry, just my resting face, and then I was bigger, so I looked older. Yeah, and I was benching. I got up to a 4 or 5 bench, which is a goal of mine. I was like pretty sick. I was pretty happy with that. I can tell people I bench 4 or 5 now. Like,
Let's go.
They might not believe me now. I don't think I can bench like even 2 plates right now, but back then I could. 550-pound squat, and then I think I was on like a 600 deadlift.
Damn.
I'm really bad at deadlift. So like I don't have the leverage, like body proportions to be good at it. But yeah, that was basically it.
I think 600 is enough.
Yeah, probably. Just proportionally, if you compare like the numbers to powerlifting numbers, those guys are like half my size lifting more, which is crazy.
There's this guy on Instagram, Anatol. What is his?
Yeah, Anatoly. Yeah.
Isn't he insane?
He's pretty sick. Yeah. Like in powerlifting wise, weight wise, in the weight category, he's very strong. In the overall category, like weight doesn't matter. Well, he'll fall short, obviously. Like if we're just thinking king of the jungle, whoever lifts the most, well, he's not going to be like up there in powerlifting standards. But for his weight class, is crazy. It's like an ant. Like, you know, ants can lift up like 10 times their body weight. It's basically him. He's pretty strong. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny how he goes up and just makes everyone surprised.
Yeah. I don't know if he's faking it or not. Sometimes I watch his videos. I'm like, Loki looks kind of fake, but I don't know.
Yeah, potentially. Okay, so you, at the age of 15, you were 380 pounds.
Yeah.
And you dropped 140 pounds over the years.
Yeah. Maybe even more than that. Yeah.
That's what I could find, but I'm sure we can get a first-hand story from you.
Yeah, I was living in Iran at the time. I lived in Iran for about 4 years. From the ages of 12 to like 15, 16, I was in Iran. I went to international school, and like my whole life got flipped around. I was living in Dubai back then. I had all my friends, everyone I knew was there. Like I grew up in Dubai, and then the moment I moved to Iran, well, like I lost everything I had. Like I had a good lifestyle and everything, and when you know how Iran is, well, it's not necessarily the same. All the things that I enjoyed doing, I can't do anymore. Like whether it was video games or going to this place with my friends or that with my friends. Like my big thing was video games. I loved video games growing up, and the fact that I couldn't play because my internet was so slow. I had like 1 megabit, which is 100 kilobytes per second. That's like that's crazy. I had 100 kilobytes to play with, and I couldn't play any games with my friends anymore. I just felt like a downward spiral of depression and mental issues. And school was horrible. Everything just like happened, and I started getting obese. I just used food as an escape, and my family kept giving me food, like kind of their fault. But at some point, you become conscious enough to not eat it, right? But I had become so accustomed to eating and using food as an escape. I got up to around like almost 400 pounds. Pretty bad. I'm surprised I had no health problems, because we got my livers and everything checked at some point. I was perfectly healthy, no fatty liver or anything, thankfully. No high blood pressure of any kind.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't stop eating. I did try to lose weight a couple times, actually. I lost like 30, 40 pounds at some point on my own, and then I just went back to my old habits. And then the doctors recommended me to get bariatric surgery, gastric bypass. They essentially cut your stomach into a smaller portion, and they bypass the digestion through the stomach and into the intestines, straight to the intestine. I don't know, they do something. I don't exactly know how that helps, but it basically makes your stomach smaller. Think of it that way. You eat less. Up to a certain point. Because the stomach can, I think, infinitely expand, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, no matter how small you cut it, it can stretch again, and it can regenerate, I think. So when I had the surgery, I lost a lot of the weight. I lost around maybe, I would say 80 pounds.
So you did have the surgery?
I had the surgery, yeah. Because I was going to die, I think, if I kept going at that point. Like, my mental health was pretty horrible, and I had no ambition to like live anymore, genuinely. Like I was on the path, like I wanted to die. That's why I kept eating and I didn't stop. And then during that time that I had surgery, I think it was in June of 2015, I moved to Canada, back to Vancouver in October of 2015, so a couple months after. So in those months, I lost around 80 pounds. And when I came here, my stomach was still pretty small, and I began to eat again, and I started going to the gym. my stomach began to expand up to a point where like I can just eat normally. So the surgery didn't help at that point. So I have family members who did it because they're all fat too, like, and the surgery didn't work for them. For example, they're still fat. It worked for like a year, and then they start eating normally again. Some of my family members even did it like twice, 3 times the surgery. Like they did the sleeve, they call it.
Damn, it runs in the blood.
Yeah, man. It's just like bad habits passed down, like literal generational habits being passed.
Charred, oily food.
Yeah, and it's Persian food too. And then the cooking, the 𝐬𝐓𝐇𝐄 cooking is like crazy good, man. So
that's what's up.
Oh, it's also like fat and carbs and barely any protein. What do you expect?
Okay.
I love Persian food, but some of the foods are like, it's just like fat and carbs. There's barely any protein in there. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's about it. And I lost all the weight, fell in love with fitness. And then, started doing it and got pretty good at it, I guess. I had good genetics. I literally just banged my head against the weights and I got jacked. Like in the 6 months that I went to the gym, I had like huge arms, like huge biceps for no reason. Even now, I haven't been to the gym in a couple of months. I still look like I still go to the gym. So it's like, I'm trying to lose some size. I just want to look a little bit slender, but I don't think it's possible. I think my fate is sealed. This is just how it's going to be for the rest of my life.
So what's your favorite Persian food?
Ooh, that's hard, man. Like I want to say 𝐻orbاش, but like everyone says that. And 𝐻orbاش is good. It's just not my top, not my number one. I think I really like 𝐻orbاش. Sweet 𝐻orbاش.
Right, because there's different ways.
Yeah, there's sweet and sour, and there's like malas, we call it. I don't know what it means exactly. Malas just means
it's like in between. It's like half.
In between, yeah. But I love it just sweet. And maybe the second one is like 𝐬𝐃𝐄, and then third one is 𝐻orbاش.
You're in the 𝐻orbاش. You're a 𝐻orbash guy.
I'm a 𝐻orbash guy, man. I love it. It's so good. How about you?
I'd probably say classic kebab.
Kebab? Oh, I forgot about kebab, dude.
Kebab's not the main one.
No. Okay, I gotta redo my list. I think Vaziri's up there too. Vaziri. It's just like one juje, one kubide. I don't like just kubide. I like juje and kubide. I want to have like a mix and match, you know?
Right.
But yeah.
Right, that's life. So you got up to 380. You lost it back. Where were you in your leanest?
Oh, like
looking.
I was under 220. And that. I've never been under 200 pounds. Like 220 pounds, basically. I've never been under that. Holy
smoke.
Like, I don't remember that. Maybe I was like 12 years old. No, I don't even remember, man. Like, yeah, I'm naturally very big in general. Like, I used
genetics.
I used to call myself big bone to get away with being fat back then. But after losing all the weight, I still can't go under 200 pounds. Like, I am actually big boned.
So, okay, it's been a trend in this podcast. You talk about genetics. Can you speak about that and like, you know, how different variations of genetics may help you or harm you in this manner?
Yeah, of course. Well, you look at NBA players, for example. They're taller. Obviously, they'll have an advantage. Even the length of your calves will determine how high you can jump, for example, like the muscle fibers there. When it comes to powerlifting, another sport, well, the longer your arms are, right? The longer your arms, the shorter your legs, the shorter your torso, well, the distance for a deadlift will become way less. So think of it as like a crane. If the crane it's long, right? And it just pulls things straight up. If you're built like a crane, well, you'll be really good at the deadlift. If you have long arms, short legs, short torso. But then on the other hand, your bench press is going to be horrible. You have long arms. So the distance to go from the top to the bottom to hit your chest, it's going to be much longer. That's why guys with short arms, like smaller dudes, like 5'6" under, have really good bench presses usually. They're all like smaller guys.
Interesting. I have noticed that.
Because the range that they have to go down, is the energy they have to exert is way less, the motion. Mm-hmm. So they're doing half the amount of work you're doing, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So they can get away with benching more. And powerlifting, besides like the muscle aspect, how much muscle fibers you need and how strong you have to be, it's actually mostly leverage. So if you have short arms, for example, you'll always bench more than someone with long arms. Like it's always most of the time it's going to be the case. If you have shorter legs, like stubbier legs, well, the squat's going to be easier for you. People with long legs have a trouble squatting. Look at like basketball players squatting. If you ever see like LeBron James squatting, Uh, yeah, it's not good. It's hard. Like it's hard for him. On the other hand, though, like he can jump really high, run pretty fast. Even Usain Bolt has like long legs. He can run pretty far, like pretty fast. And bodybuilding is like you need a little bit of everything. If you have too long of like if your arm's too long, then your bicep, the amount of work you need to fill out the bicep is going to be a lot more. So your bicep's never going to have like a good peak. It's never going to look round. It'll just look kind of flat. Or even your legs, if they're too long, well, again, you need a lot of work to build those legs. A lot more work.
So a question, right? What are your top 10 workouts that will be... I saw somebody like famous Olympiad answering this, but I want to ask you, what are your top 10 workouts that you would do for all body?
Like my favorite? Or
your favorite, you could only choose 10 workouts the rest of your life that you could do. What would they be?
That's hard. I'll pick one from every body part. So I'll do like a lat pull down or pull up, a chest press of some kind, an incline chest press, bicep curls, tricep push downs, leg extensions, hamstring curls, calf raises. One more, I think. 2 or 1 more. That's honestly it. Oh, some traps, a shoulder press, and then lateral raises. And that's it. That's all you need really. So you can get away with like just using dumbbells for all those things, and maybe one cable.
Right.
That's all I did for my workouts.
Mostly dumbbell.
It was pretty simple. No, it's mostly machines. It's a little bit of dumbbell, yeah, but mostly machines. You just gotta lift heavy enough, frequently enough, create enough stress in your body, and then you get bigger. It's literally all there is.
What's the optimal workout for you? What was it back in the day?
Train each body part twice a week. So it doesn't matter what your split is. I recommend training the same like body parts that work together at the same time. Other people will say train bodies that are opposite of each other. So like back and chest, they're opposite muscles, right? One is pulling, one is pushing. We call them agonist and like antagonist muscles. Some people like, yeah, that's what I would do. So I would do like a back biceps and forearms. That's what I would do. I love to train forearms. People, it's so underrated. You got to train your forearms, man. It makes a huge difference in your grip, how your arm looks, how you look, how your hands look. Like you get thicker hands. It's great. I'll do like a chest and then shoulders and triceps together. And then I'll do legs. I'll just do that twice a week on repeat. So 6 days, 1 day rest.
What does a day look, for example? Where does cardio fit in? Like, how do you manage everything?
So fasted cardio and stuff like that doesn't make a difference unless you're enhanced. So if you're not on drugs, on steroids, the drugs that help you take advantage of being fasted, then it doesn't make a difference. Just do cardio. I do after the workout. I want to save my energy all for the workout, the primary. So cardio is usually secondary, right? And then the amount of cardio I would do is like steady state. Cardio in general is not good for your heart. It's contrary to belief. Cardio is actually not good for your heart. Yeah. So there's a lot of deaths from. You've seen a lot of triathlon runners, like guys who run marathons, passing away. Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever recently?
Yeah. Have they?
Yeah. I think a lot of the cardiovascular deaths, majority of them are from basketball. You might want to fact check that, but I think majority of deaths, sport deaths, I think was from basketball, and it was heart failure from just running around.
Interesting.
So you're basically causing stress towards the heart. So how could that possibly be good at all? Even weight training is not good for you, obviously. It's causing stress for the heart, like stress to your body. Any kind of stress is generally not good at all. Like, so that's why if you're going to do cardio, you do steady. Don't be running. Don't be like killing yourself on the treadmill. Like, it's not a good idea.
So steady, you mean like fast walking, or how does that?
Just like slow walking, even. Just
slow walking.
Yeah, moderate pace. Like 3 miles a second. Or there's a 3 miles an hour, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 miles an hour. So you're going pretty fast walking, yeah. Maybe a little bit of an incline. But nothing that's going to make your heart rate jump up to like 140 beats per minute. Like in I think it's called like zone 2 cardio or whatever. Yeah, nothing like that. Zone 1, steady. That's the best.
But then is cardio the best for getting lean, for example? Or how does that leaning come parts in?
It fits in there, but it's not the primary. It's secondary. It's supplementary to your diet. So what I do is, let's say you have to eat 3,000 calories to maintain your weight. So 3,000 calories, that's your base to maintain. You want to lose a pound a week. of fat, that's a deficit of 500 calories. So every 250 calories is half a pound a week. So to lose 1 pound, it's 500. To lose 2 pounds is 1,000 deficit. So if I want to lose, let's say 1 pound, I got to eat 500 calories less than what I'm currently eating. So in that case, 3,000, take away 500, that's 2,500 a day. So to create that deficit, though, you can do it all from cardio. You can do it all from food. You could. But the best way is to do maybe a half and half. So cut out 250 calories from your diet, what you eat, and then cut out 250 just from cardio. So maybe that looks like around 30 minutes of cardio. For me, it was like 15 minutes. I'd go pretty hard. I didn't want to spend too much time. But 30 minutes, would, like for most people, you can take off 250 calories, no problem. And you combine those two together, you create a steady path for you to lose weight without, not eating enough food, right? So a lot of people will just do it through diet. They starve themselves, and they wonder why they can't sustain it long term. Well, it feels horrible. You can do it for a month or two. You absolutely can. I've done it. But after that, it slows down, and you can't just keep taking food away. You're going to end up at like 2,000 calories a day, like as a big guy. Like, it's horrible. So you got to pace yourself and take it slow. Yeah.
Very interesting.
There's science. It's a science. It's literally a science of thermodynamics. How much your body spends and consumes energy. That's all it is.
100%. Did you stretch too? Like, did you do stretching?
Oh yeah, dude. I could almost do the splits. Like,
actually,
yeah, I was stretching a lot.
We're gonna have that attempt here.
I can't do it anymore. Like, stretching is one of those things that you have to do frequently. Otherwise, you lose the mobility. It's literally, unless you've been doing it since you were a kid, like your body, your joints, and your everything, ligaments have been accustomed to that. If you just stop doing it, you're gonna lose your mobility again.
How important is stretching to fit it into a workout?
Well, I did it 15 minutes every day before my workout, every single day. Not any kind of like intense stretching, just like moderate stretching. I would stretch head to toe and stretch my chest, my whatever body part I was working or that was sore, I would stretch it out so I can be prepared for the next day. And I've never had any injuries. I think that's the main reason. And also, the reason why I started stretching in the first place, I have a video of myself when I was like fatter and I started going to the gym. And I was just in my bedroom in my underwear, and I just recorded myself trying to do a squat because I couldn't even do a squat back then. And in the video, I just like fall over, like literally. It's like a funny video. I sit down to squat, and then I just topple over, like lose my balance. And that's when I realized I don't have the mobility for this. So I started stretching. And eventually I learned more things about stretching. I developed my own ways of stretching or what works. And I started testing it on like my clients. And I started working for them and everyone I know. And apparently the way I've developed for my own stretching is the right way. So I just stretch head to toe and it starts working and it's great.
It's awesome.
It's really good. You'll have less pains and aches for sure.
How does calisthenics fit into this? Did you do any calisthenics?
I wish I could, actually one of the main reasons I wanted to lose weight was because I wanted to be able to do a pull-up. Back in Iran in school, we had like these, in Iran we have those like outdoor like workout things. And there's always a pull-up bar somewhere in the mix. My friends in school, I would always see them doing muscle-ups and pull-ups and just for fun stuff like that. And I could never do it. And I always wanted to, and it's great. Calisthenics is amazing, actually. It's something I would recommend over going to the gym, honestly. Yeah. Wow. It's less stressful on your body. You get to look great. You don't look like a fucking balloon. Like, that's the truth, right? It's like, it's not appealing. Like, bodybuilding is not appealing whatsoever, even to me. And right now, it's like I can't see myself going that big anymore. I always wanted to do calisthenics, but even after losing all the weight and being the lightest I've ever been in my life, the most I could do was like 12 pull-ups in a row. And when I was bodybuilding, no matter how lean I got, I was still 250 pounds. Either I gotta get strong enough to lift myself up like doing pull-ups, or I gotta lose more weight. So calisthenics is awesome, man. I love it. I wish I could do it. I wish I could do a muscle up.
So it seems that there's a major pivotal moment in your mind that has changed you from maybe your first half of the life, which was like, bodybuilding and this lifestyle, and then you seem to be transitioning to a second half.
Yeah, for sure. It was like a click in my brain. I took a step back. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what is this? I'm like forcing myself to eat food I don't like. I'm putting extraordinary amounts of stress on my body, all for what? Just to get some attention. It's basically all it was, right? You basically have like a disorder of like how you look, and you just want to look a certain way. It's fine if you want to be healthy about it. Like, just go to the gym every now and then, just be happy with how you look. Nothing wrong with that. But I can easily see how it's become a problem for even the younger generation. I've probably influenced some people, like, which is horrible. Like, I mean, I would always say don't do what I'm doing. Honestly, I would say that, but it doesn't matter. You're still showing off that lifestyle, and people seem to gravitate towards it for some reason because maybe they feel special. I guess I don't know. They feel like they're one out of a million.
They stand out, yeah.
Yeah, like
sure.
the Sam Sulek probably did a number on the youth population who wanted to hop on steroids and live that lifestyle, but it's not fun, dude. Like, it's fun when you're doing it, but the moment from the outsider perspective, no one cares, dude. Like, no one respects that anyway. Like, everyone, I think people love normal. People like normal, right? Like, the more normal you are, the more people probably like you, want to be around you. If you have weird lifestyles like that, well, it's only for the niche. It's only for that group of people who will like it. So if you're going to the gym to get like extra jacks for a girl, guess what? If you just look normal, like, you know, to have a six-pack, or just don't be fat or have a six-pack, or something in between, just a normal guy, like your average guy who like looks, maybe has a little bit of a belly, just goes to the gym every now and then, whatever. Well, that's what most people like. So yeah, don't be abnormal. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's like a full shift, and I'm excited to see where it brings.
Yeah, I still enjoy like bodybuilding. Like, I still watch the Olympia like this year. But as to want to do it myself, probably not bodybuilding. Probably just be fitness, just be healthy, look semi decent, like be happy with how I look, and that's about it. Yeah.
So at your peak, you've had sponsorships.
I had like athlete sponsorships, yeah, and they were horrible, dude.
Oh, really?
Like, it's not all like what you think. Like, I remember I had a sponsorship with this company called Revolution Nutrition.
Yeah, that was your main. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was Canadian. They're Canadian, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was using their products before they sponsored me, so I can never sell a product I don't use. I can never just shill. Like, I can't just like sell myself like that. And I was using their company and their brand. It was really good, tasty. It was very tasty. Then they reached out. They're like, "Oh, use our code. You get like this amount." It was like $1 per person use my code, which sucks. Do you know how many people use that code? Like, if I got commission, like people were doing $300 orders, then send it to me. I'd be like, "Oh, awesome," and I would get no commission off it. I just get $1. So I got like $500 or something in just 500 orders when I could have been making like thousands.
That's insane.
It's so horrible, man. Yeah, I was like, what the? And I dropped them. I was like, this sucks. I'll still probably use their products. I found better products, thankfully. But yeah, I was sponsored by them. Yeah. I got sponsored by like some other like wrist strap company that I used to actually use them because they're relatively cheap. They're Canadian, and they're like most popular on Amazon. It's called Riptoned. They're pretty good. They're pretty good quality and whatnot. But I got to a point where I just didn't care anymore. Like, what I use, I didn't care about what kind of protein I use or anything. You become less anal about it over the years. Like, initially, like, no, I have to get this brand. But like after you try a bunch, like, oh, they're all the same shit. They all come from the same factory from China somewhere. Just use it, whatever you like. It doesn't really matter. There's no best creatine. They try to, like, the supplement industry is such a scam. It's literally a scam. Like, all the products they sell for the most part don't really work. Like test boosters, like, they don't work, man. Like, you know what's gonna work? Eating well, training right, and sleeping. Sleep is pretty important. None of the supplements are going to do anything for you. Creatine is like the only one I would recommend. I wouldn't even recommend protein powder at this point because they're all like trash. Like, all the companies, I don't know how they're making it. I don't know if it's legit. Unless they have their lab results posted on the purity of the protein, I wouldn't even buy them.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a scam. It's a little scam they're going to basically sell you something that you have no information about or enough information about and just tell you it works, and it doesn't. And then you're like, what the heck? What if I keep trying it? Or maybe it takes 2 months to kick in the test booster or the pre-workout. Pre-workouts are scams. The pre-workouts are scam too. I used to be so like, I only take this pre-workout because it helps a lot. and it did, but it doesn't produce much of an outcome. Like it doesn't it doesn't boost your performance in any way. It doesn't make you build more muscle. They tell you it does, but it doesn't really. It might improve your performance, caffeine and stimulants. Like that's something that could work because now you're pushing more weight. You can push through the pain. So if you're lifting more, you're probably building more muscle. You have more energy to keep training harder. Okay, that works. But the supplement itself on its own won't build muscle. Like it won't do anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like a complementary to what you're doing. It's
complementary, yeah. The best thing, just take caffeine, man. Like that's good enough.
Are you a caffeine user?
I used to be. No, I haven't. This is my first caffeine drink in a couple months now. Yeah, I used to I used to take 500 milligrams a day when I was natural. When I got enhanced, you realize pre-workouts don't do anything. Straight up, when you're on enhanced, you'll realize you don't need much of anything to get you going.
You already going.
Your energy levels are already so high. You have so much muscle and energy to put into the workout that the caffeine won't do much. I was taking at that point when I was enhanced, I took no pre-workouts. All I took was a caffeine pill. That's it.
So 500 milligram, how many coffee cups is that?
Oh gosh, that's a lot. Yeah.
Is it actually?
That's a lot, yeah. I think 1 cup of coffee is 50 milligrams.
I'm going to fact check, but that's insane.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But even 250 is a lot. 250 is 5 times the amount of 5 cups of coffee. 250 is pretty common. 200 to 250 is pretty common in pre-workouts even. But when I was double scooping pre-workout, I was around 500 to workout. And you get used to it though. Initially it's tough, but my caffeine tolerance is just high anyways. Even when I was a kid, I could drink a Red Bull and fall asleep. It wouldn't do much.
Okay.
But now
genetics.
Yeah, sure, genetics. Yeah, but now even a little bit of caffeine keeps me awake because I just don't drink. I don't drink coffee. I don't take caffeine.
Yeah, that's me.
Now I literally just a little bit, even 20 milligrams is good enough for me. I can get away with that. I drink a can of Coke at night, for example, Diet Pepsi. It keeps me awake. I have to make sure I buy 0 caffeine Coke.
Actually?
Yeah, there's zero Coke 0 and then 0 caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta drink that before bed, otherwise I can't sleep. Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple questions. One, what were your biggest regrets during those 7 years?
I regret before, when I was fat. I wish I never got that fat. But even then, it's I wouldn't be who I am now if it wasn't for that. So I can never really say I have regrets. Whenever I make a decision, even now, before I make the decision, I tell myself I have to live with it.
Accountability.
Yeah, for sure. Let's say if I make a really crucial decision in my life, I decided to go back to school this year and get an education. And I told myself, it's going to cost me a whole lot of money. I'm getting no loans for this. I'm ineligible for loans. I have to pay out of pocket for all my courses. Even if it doesn't work out, even if I can't find a job after this, it doesn't matter. I tried and it is what it is, right? Even the whole bodybuilding thing, I said I'm going to commit to it. And if my health goes south, I am prepared for it. I'm already accepting the fact that something could happen. Am I going to it's going to suck? Yeah. But I've already made the decision, right? So I have no regrets.
That's awesome.
The only regrets I have are from when I wasn't conscious enough as a person to make those choices. I wasn't, when I was younger, when I was getting fat and stuff, eating a lot of food, I wasn't that conscious enough.
That's awesome. That's happy to hear, man. Life without regrets.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's nice. It's very peaceful.
How do you feel about Gymshark and its rise?
I used to care a lot when I was so Gymshark used to be a brand that was catered towards guys who want to look Ziz. Have you heard of Ziz? Yeah. He was an influencer in bodybuilding or fitness, I would say. He was that shredded guy who was raving all the time, the typical jock. He had a really good body. He wasn't that big, he was just very aesthetic. And he gave rise to the aesthetic people, when people want to look like that. And then a whole bunch of these people who all looked pretty sick. Most of them were on steroids. Some were natural. David Lade, you probably know. Even he was on steroids at some point. I'm pretty sure he was. Even if it was a little bit, he was on something. But even when he was natural, he looked great. Ziz inspired these guys. He was the original guy. And Gymshark was catered towards these kind of people. The guys who are want to look sick and they want to be the best version of themselves in that aspect, I guess. And over the years, they became super for everyone. Everyone can wear it. Okay, they did something really like nothing wrong with it. It's just like, why would you ever post this as a marketing thing? It was like a girl with like a lot of armpit hair, and her arms were like up like this, and that was the ad. Like anyone can wear Gymshark, and it was like a super like obese girl wearing Gymshark, and I was like, I'm not hating, I'm not judging or anything. I'm just saying like, yeah, anyone can wear it, yes, but the way you're promoting it is just kind of bad. It's a bad way to promote. I mean, any publicity is good publicity, I guess.
No, I get what you're saying. It's this new era that like, how we can get deep into that. Let's just leave it at that.
No, yeah, it's completely fine. It's just when it got to that point, and the quality became a lot worse. I stopped buying Gymshark, but then now Gymshark is back to how it used to be.
Really?
Yeah, and they're doing it properly now. They're promoting it properly. Like, yeah, anyone can wear Gymshark, but it doesn't have to be like weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was too ashamed to wear a tank top when I was fat, right? Like, I personally, in my head back then, I'd be like, I have to earn my right to wear a tank top. I have to earn to look good, to be able to wear a tank top and be like look good in it. But I would never wear it if like I'm just like a fat guy with got like man boobs. Like, I'm not gonna wear a tank top. Like, like, you know what I mean?
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's. I feel like you have to. I think that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, because that way at least you have something to strive towards to be better. If anyone can wear it, you're not striving for anything. Like, a lot of people they're obese, they want to go to the gym. Great. Like, I'm not gonna shame or anything. Like, I was that guy. Like, I remember when I was going to the gym, some guy came up to me and was like, "You've lost a lot of weight." I was like, "Damn, okay, I'm getting
Let's
somewhere.
go.
Let's go." Yeah, it was like motivational. Nothing wrong. You're fat. You want to lose weight. Great. But a lot of these people think it's okay to just like, well, it is okay. But I'm just saying like, hey, I want to lose weight. I'm fat. I'm going to the gym. But they don't change. They make zero progress in a year, right? And they go buy Gymshark. They think, oh, it's okay. It's inclusive. Even if I'm fat, I can wear it. You can, but I feel like it should be something for guys who want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Who are actually gym goers and they want
pay their dues.
They're paying their dues. They actually want to improve. And a lot of people struggle with it. I'm not one to judge. Like, if someone could make zero progress in a year, probably like, I used to be fat. Like, I understand.
Something's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mentally, something's going on with you. Like, where you're not trying to be as healthy as you're just being unhealthy. Like, you have a disorder of eating and you can't stop. Well, I get it. Seek some help, dude. Like, hire someone who can help you. Hire a coach, a therapist, something.
Boom.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing you do for fun?
Right now, video games.
Really?
Yeah, my friends convinced me to play World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I used to make fun of that game, man. I used to make fun of people who played it because I'm like, oh, it's all nerds. All these nerds playing World of Warcraft. I started playing it. It's really fun. I knew I would like it because I used to play a lot of MMOs when I was younger, and I get addicted to them. Like, I love it. Like, I'll sit there for like 10 hours and won't move. I'll just go to the washroom and maybe get some food. If I have no work, I'm just gonna sit there for 10 hours and not move at all. Just play games with my friends. I've done a couple of those nights, but yeah, for fun I do video games. I used to play a lot of volleyball at a competitive level. Actually, yeah, competitive. Like, I was trying. Like, it was a high level.
Right.
It wasn't like just like your average guy who doesn't know how to play volleyball. We all know how to play volleyball, and we're all spiking. We're hitting it. The round's going pretty good. I was doing that. It's every like Thursday at a rec center. I just haven't gone recently. The tickets are always sold out because it's the same people buying the tickets every week, and they buy it like 2 weeks in advance.
Bro, it's like badminton, same, bro.
Dude, I'm like, bro, I want to play too, man. Like, I don't want to play like with people who don't know how to play. I want to play with people who are good. So I'm also like not bad. So I want to learn. I want to be better. What else did I used to go to the gym and bodybuilding and stuff. That was sick. I cook. I bake. I can make some really good baklava. Like,
whoa.
Like, I actually like insane baklava. People don't know, but I can bake really well. I just don't do it as often because I'm just gonna get fat if I do. I'm just gonna eat the whole tray. I don't want to. I don't want to do that to myself.
Back to the old roots.
I only make food, like really good food, if I have like for my friends and family or like my loved ones. If they ever want something, they're craving like pasta or something. I make really good pasta. I make really good cake. I make really good baklava. Anything
Damn.
Really. Lasagna. I can cook anything. Persian food, I can do pretty good kebabs, but Fesenjun and stuff, I don't know. Don't ask me about the stews, man. They're hard.
It's harder.
They're really hard. It takes a whole day.
Yeah.
To make that stuff. Like, my mom used to make it. She was just like, it's like a whole day process. It would take them like 8 hours to make that thing. I'm like, I don't got patience for that. I'm just gonna throw some chicken on the pan and eat something like quick.
Boom.
Yeah, it's like quick.
But you coach too.
Yeah, I coach. I don't do it as much anymore. I only train and coach people who like they find out about me somehow again. Like, since I haven't been posting, like I don't get many DMs or coaching applications. But yeah,
You're just taking it chill, just relaxing right
yeah,
now.
man, I'm trying to get an education. This stuff is not sustainable, and it's not a good lifestyle either, man. Like, I don't want to be promoting bodybuilding anymore. Like, that's just me. I'm promoting other things, a healthier lifestyle, maybe.
We'll see a new Sina in the next couple months.
Yeah.
So, what's the first piece of advice for people trying to get into the whole space?
Like fitness.
Yeah.
It's a commitment. It's a long-term goal. Same with anything. The more you put in, the more you get out. So if you're thinking it's going to be like, I know a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, it's summer. I'm going to go to the gym for 3 months, like summer thing. And then they just stop. I'm like, no, it's something you have to maintain. It's not just something you can stop doing. So if they go in the mindset that like, I'm going to do this for 3 months, like I'm going to do this, I'm going to stick to it, they go super hardcore at it, they're going to probably crash, right? The faster you fly, the harder you crash or something. I've heard something along those lines.
Yeah, something like, yeah.
Also, they don't compare yourself to others. The biggest thing, the comparison is the thief of joy. And this is the biggest thing, I'm not even going to lie. Comparing yourself to these people you see online who are on steroids. They have better genetics than you. They've been doing this longer. Do not ever compare yourself because you will never look like them. Ever. Like, you will look the best version of yourself, which could look better than them. Could, right? But don't ever compare yourself in general. Unless it's to yourself, do not compare. That's when I thought, I was happier when I first started going to the gym than I am after bodybuilding. Because back then I would never compare myself to anyone. It was just improving myself constantly. And then it got to a point where I had improved so much, it stopped, right? It stops after a certain point. You can only improve so much. And then you chase that progression, and that's where people take steroids. That's where people want to get better, and they hit their genetic ceiling. They're like, they're just so addicted to the progression. They really, because it's giving them a sense of purpose, right? And they hop on steroids, and then they want to get even bigger, and then bigger. Then when does it stop? At what point do you stop, right?
No stop, yeah.
Yeah, you can't just do this for life. At some point you have to stop. Like, at the moment you do stop, you're going to reminisce over how good you looked, how good it felt, because once you have something so great, it's hard to go back to something that's less, like not as good. It's hard to be content. Like for example, let's say you date a girl who was awesome. She was great, but things just didn't work out. Could you ever date a girl who's like worse than her? You probably couldn't. You have a new standard of what you want in your life, in that aspect at least. So yeah, that's the number one advice. Even now I struggle with it. I look at my photos, I'm like, damn, I look good. I was like, damn, I was big. Like, damn. But I have to remind myself every day that my health is more important and I have better things to look forward to than how I freaking look in the mirror. Like, who cares? Right. Literally, who cares? No one cares about you. Like, no one actually cares. Yeah, you might be impressive outside in the gym, outside in the beach, but like, so what? You're just impressive. Like, it is hard work. Don't get me wrong. It is really hard work, but the reward is just not worth it. If you spend that time into learning a trade, a language, communication skills, I don't know, something. If you put all that time and effort into something else, you would go way further than if you were to just do bodybuilding or fitness, but obsess over it. Obsess over something useful to the society, useful to people, useful to your loved ones, not just to yourself.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. How has the U.S. election impacted your business life?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all. I actually want to move to the States, man. I don't even want to be here. I don't like Canada at all.
Whoa, relax.
No, I'm Canadian, man. But dude, like, I love the people. I hate whoever's running this country, man. What is happening?
I agree. I agree.
Like, it's like, Persians, we love the country, we love our people, but whoever's running the country is like destroying it single-handedly. Like,
Iran, and recently seems to be here as well a little bit.
Like when I moved back to Canada, I knew zero about politics. I knew nothing about politics because it's not really talked about. When I was younger, it was never really talked about at all. it's only North America who's so obsessed over conservative, liberal, I don't know, all this stuff. Like, but what they fail to realize is like it's not so much about like if you're right wing or left wing or whatever. It's about like what's great for overall like society.
Exactly.
You have to sometimes be like, oh, what I want is not as important because the majority need this thing, need this policy or whatever. It's like society. A society means a group of people coming together, right? Like, and they're working together. But it can't work if half of them are like this way and half of them that way. You have to meet somewhere in the middle where
Separate. It's so separated with different parties, and it's
yeah,
just,
and it's all like psychological warfare for the most part. Like what media you consume is literally dictating how you think, and you cannot. People who are so deep into this kind of stuff, like when Trump won, I don't care if you don't like Trump. I don't care if you like him. You're sending death threats and you're like crying, screaming. Are you insane? What is wrong with you?
yeah, I agree.
Bro, I lived in a country with a dictator who got elected every year. Guess what? Because he can do that. And people are literally being killed in the streets, right? And being tossed in front of their families' homes. And bro, not even I reacted like that. Like, you're just like insane. If you're just doing that, you're literally quite crazy. It's like psychological damage. Like, you have psychological damage. Like, there's no way.
No, it's true. It's true. It's a crazy world we're living in.
They wish death upon these people. Like, dude, like, that's crazy, man. This guy was your president already at some point. Like, the country ran well. You guys no one was complaining. It was fine. And then, I mean, everyone's going to complain. It doesn't matter
There's always going to be someone
like,
who's
even if
complaining.
Biden was president right now or Kamala Harris, the conservatives would complain, right? Everyone would complain. So there's no winning in that department. It's just, I think as a society, people forget that we have to come together. It's not, people are so individualistic in North America. That's the main problem. They just think, what's good for them. They don't care about what's good for everyone else. And that mentality is caused usually by high taxes and having no money, having nothing, right?
They're just surviving at this point.
Yeah, it's literally about survival. So that's why you see all these people who vote for like these presidents or vice president or like prime ministers who say free. This is free. Education's free. How is it free? Who's paying the taxes, bro? If money's not. You're printing money. You're gonna print money. That's inflation. So
nothing is free. You're paying it somehow.
Free. Like when we had Serb. Guess we're paying the price now.
No, I know. It's a crazy world now. I hope something major changes in North America.
Yeah, I think like I'm not against immigration by any means. My parents immigrated here when I was
Same.
young, right? And I was born here, thankfully. And I know my friends who have immigrated, but it comes at a cost to the people who already live here. So immigration is not bad. It's necessary, actually, up to a certain extent. If you do immigration too much on one end, well, this is what happens. We don't have homes to provide, right? Wages are horrible. We don't have enough homes to provide for people at a cheap price. Supply and demand, right? So if there's so many people who want homes, guess what? The home prices will go up if there's not enough.
Homelessness is becoming a crisis. Everything.
In East Hastings happens. The job market in general is bad. We print money like it's crazy, and like we have inflation. So, and then taxes are really high. People are pretty unhappy. Everyone's leaving. Everyone, like all these rich people I know that I've talked to before, they all left.
Actually,
they don't stay here. No.
To US?
Yeah, a lot of them went to US. A lot of them went to like Mexico, Turkey.
Just living good life.
Yeah, they went to Turkey, Mexico, just out of here, like cheaper places, because they already made their money. Like if you were here 30 years ago, you'd be well off right now.
Yeah, it's
like my parents had a home here, like not too far from Lonsdale in Delbrook, a 5-bedroom house. They're stupid. They sold it.
no way.
They sold it like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. If we had it now,
Bro, that's
out of a 5-bedroom in Delbrook.
that's what's
That's
up.
like a good area too. Like that's not cheap area.
Yeah.
That house is probably worth millions now. But yeah.
What's your intuition about getting trainers rather than learning online for free?
When I first started, I started recording myself to find out if my form is good, if I'm doing things right. I didn't have money for a trainer. I could barely afford my gym membership, like at the time. And then it took a while to learn. It took way longer than if I were to hire a trainer who knows what he's doing at least. Like there are many trainers I've even worked with. They're horrible. Like they don't know what the heck they're doing. Like it's really insane. They just have a personal training certificate and they think they're like, I mean, technically, yeah, you're certified, but even that's the whole fitness industry is a scam in general. So like, don't even trust their certifications. Like they're bullshit. Like it doesn't matter if someone's certified. Look on their experience. Looking at how someone looks is also not a good idea because they have good genetics. They can bang their head against the wall in the gym and they'll gain muscle. Like, look for someone who's showing you that they know what they're talking about, and the way they train you connects with you, resonates with you. So you really understand what they're saying and how they're training, right? I've developed a way for myself to teach clients in a language that is easy to understand. It's like, okay, pull your elbows back and squeeze your back. Well, a baby could understand that language. Someone saying, well, if you got to retract your scapula, like, bro, no one knows what a scapula is. Speak in normal language. Like, so if you were to do it on your own, it would take a while. And possibly you could always be doing it wrong forever unless someone tells you, literally, unless you really like sit down and analyze and you have a good understanding of the human body to see how to squeeze your muscles and work them out. If not, even after like a year or two of training on your own, hire a trainer, even if it's for like a few sessions. See if you can get anything out of it. And then the way I do it is I train clients. I tell them initially come a bunch of times, and come 4 or 5 times a week if you can, for the first like month or even whatever. Build the habit, learn, understand, take in the information I'm giving you for like you're paying me for, and then after that you can be on your own. Like I babysat you. Now you're off in the wilderness on your own. Just come back home 2 times a week. Come back if you really need a refresher. Otherwise, yeah, that's how I do it. I'm not going to tell someone to come every day unless they really want to. Like they really like my company. Because a lot of the times you end up being a therapist. Like for the clients.
Really?
Yeah, man. They're like, it's like with any job. Like if you're a barber, even like you have a regular frequent customers, they just sit there, yap, they talk about their life and everything. Like you become kind of a therapist for them, right?
Do you like it?
Yeah, I'm a people's person, man. I love people. I love working with people more than with like objects and things. Like I could never work in an industrial power plant on my own or something. Like I want to work with people, and I love talking. I love learning about people. Which is like my job right now. I'm working as a bouncer downtown part-time just to make some side money. I love it because I just talk to people. And also you get to see so many people you haven't seen in a while. Like I saw one of my old managers I haven't seen in like 8 years. I saw like one of my ex-girlfriends. I don't know, some girl I dated once. Just said hi to her. Like it was nice seeing her. Like I haven't seen her in so many years. We never left on a bad note. So it was good to see her. I saw friends from like back high school in Iran, 10, 12 years ago. I haven't seen this guy. I'm like, what are you doing in Vancouver? He's like, I moved recently.
No way.
And this happened 5, 6 times. All the Persians move here. Or Toronto. They're all in Canada because the immigration's so easy, the immigration process. So yeah, it was crazy. I saw like all of them, like, what the heck? I haven't seen you guys in forever. That's crazy. Yeah, you get to see a lot of that, which is, I love the people.
It's truly because our roots in Iran and you in Dubai a little bit, like we are community based. We love hanging out in big gatherings, have big dinners, serve people, just have a community and just hang out. And here you don't see that really.
No, we're not a collective society here. It's more individual. And it's based off of like just not like naturally that's what you want to do. You want to fend for yourself. You're so broke, you're so miserable. The weather is so bad. I don't know. You're just so miserable here. And the only times that it's good, I mean, it is a mindset a lot of the time, right? But the amount of stress you have living here, even if you're making $5,000 a month, for example, you're only taking home $3,500, dude. Like, that's crazy. Like,
yeah.
It's so expensive.
It is very expensive in Vancouver. And also I feel like the people here are kind of like stuck up in a sense as well. They could be. Yeah,
it's because they're just trained that way. Over the years they've just trained to be that way because people are like not nice here and they get like hurt by it. Like people aren't friendly here.
Not really.
Like I would say like after I went to Vegas in August with my friends, and dude, people are so nice. Like this is what happens when taxes are cheap. There's low taxes, high incomes, everything is cheap, and everyone's
living a good life,
and the weather's good. everyone's happy. Crazy, I know, right? No one's miserable. People are nicer. Wow, who could have seen this?
You have barely any sun here. No one sees the sun. It's like crazy.
I'm like white, dude. Like I used to be dark. Like some people think I'm like Mexican or like Greek or Hispanic, something of Hispanic. No one really thinks I'm Persian anymore. I'm just turned white. I used to be tan.
Yeah. All right, we're getting to the last session, which is some psychological questions.
Yeah, sure.
What challenges you?
Life in general, man. Like sitting there thinking about what I could possibly do to make my life better or to get out of the situation that I'm in, or like mostly comes like financially, honestly. I don't have any problems otherwise. Like my emotional health, physical health, mental health, everything. I've worked on myself quite a bit to get here. So I have no problems. Like I can still always learn. I'm still always trying. I sometimes lose my temperament if I'm getting annoyed, like anyone does, right? If something's annoying you, you probably get pissed, right? But other than that, I've like challenge-wise, it's like trying to figure out how I want my life to be and how I can get there. And if I'm doing enough to get there, how I can stop my old lazy habits to get to where I want to be. And it's so easy to not pursue what you want and just be lazy if that's what your normal is. If someone has grown up always go, they're never going to be lazy. They don't know what being lazy is. It's like foreign to them, right? But I grew up as a lazy guy who was handed everything to him by his parents. Like I was a spoiled little kid. And even now as an adult, even though I work hard, like I went through all this transformation, like in other aspects of my life, I've worked hard. When it comes to certain things, I'm lazy. Certain things that I'm so used to being lazy at. And it's so hard to stop bad habits. Even for people who like, this comes back to like fitness again, if you're trying to lose weight, it's so hard. The reason it's so hard for obese people to just be fit or just stop eating, it's literally not that easy. Like it's a literal mental, I would say it's more of a mental health concern than it is a physical thing, because they're mentally so like screwed over, like they're just so messed up in the head that they can't stop. And if you could treat mental health, if you could like fix mental health issues, bro, like that would be the best. Like that would be insane. Like the only thing is the brain is once the brain is damaged, or like if you have some kind of trauma or anything, you can only treat it. You can never fix it. Doctors still don't know how to fix mental problems, right? So the challenge is getting over my hurdles, like mental stuff that I have now with being lazy or making money or whatever.
But that's awesome. I haven't seen you in years, and I can see that there's a transformation, and I love the new Sina that I see. It's like it's a totally changed man, and I'm very excited to see what future holds for you. Of course.
I don't even know how we met, honestly. Initially, was that at the gym, or you could you go to Carson?
No, it was, Parham? I think you were friends with him, and we became mutual friends somehow.
Oh yeah, Parham was my family friend. Yeah. I haven't seen that guy in like 6 years, I think.
Yeah, he's plumbing now. He's
a plumber now. Yeah. I used to be at his house like every other week. His family would invite us over. I used to go with my uncle, but yeah, I haven't seen that guy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What motivates you?
Motivates me? The idea that I have in my head of what my future wants. I want my future to be. So I have this like person I want to be, and the life I want to live in the future with the people, the person I want to be with, and the family I want to have. So envisioning that, and I feel like I just owe it to myself to get there. Like the future me would hate the me now if I never got there. I always wanted kids. I wanted to be a father at 18 when I was younger. Like I was like 12. I was like, I want to be a dad when I was 18 because I don't want to be an old father. I want to be able to play with my kids without having back pain. That was like my... But when I hit 18, I realized, it's not that easy. First, you got to find someone who's willing to put up with you. Then you got to make enough money and all this kind of thing is not that easy. So yeah, that's what motivates me. Just like the image I have of what I want my future to be. And then I have to somehow get there. I don't know how. I just know that I want to be there. So that's my motivation probably. Yeah.
And lastly, what do you think is the meaning of life?
I don't know. I think to me, I'll tell you what it means. Because I think there's no wrong answer or right answer. It's what you think life is. Some people think life is about partying. Some people think life is about being a bodybuilder or something. You know what I mean? But what has brought me the most joy in my life personally, even when I was bodybuilding, even when I was doing everything else, the one thing that really brought me joy was I was healthy. I had my family and my friends. I could be homeless. I could have zero money in my pocket. I don't care. If I had those three things, I would be happy. And the more, and when people here think the more the merrier, like, oh, if I made more money, it would make me happy. The more things you have, the more problems you'll have. Like, money is not that important. Money is literally just made up to run society, right? Like, it's just a piece of paper at the end of the day. It loses all value outside of society. Any society you go, right? It loses value. The only things that do hold value are people, right? They're the only things that hold value. So invest into people. Don't invest into things and objects and things that of that nature that just don't matter. Because when you're dead, when you're in the grave or in the hospital bed, and your family's not around, you have no one, you're gonna die alone. Well, that's when you'll be like, oh, the meaning of life was actually the people I had. You're gonna reminisce over everything. You know what they say when you're about to like pass away, you have this flashback of memories of all the things you did with all the people, everything. Well, yeah, because that's what people like forget. That's the most important thing in life. But yeah, I think you should do that. I mean, other than that, whatever you think the meaning of life is, go for it, man. I don't know. I can't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, but in my personal opinion, I think, those three things: family, friends, and kids, like everything, like having a purpose like that. What you're naturally inclined to do those things to become, like, humans are a communal-based mammal, right? They want to be around people. So if you just do things you're naturally inclined to do as a human, you'll be probably more happy. It's just people forget that because we live in this society that tells you how you should think and what you should do and everything. So just do what you're naturally inclined to do in that aspect, and you'll be very happy. I think so.
Brother, it was fantastic speaking to you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
And I wish you all the best.
Yeah, you as well.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.